In case you are watching our channel for the first time, kindly subscribe and click the notification bell. To our subscribers, thank you very much. Kindly give our videos many likes so that YouTube can recommend them for viewing. After the just concluded presidential elections, very much focus and attention was on the national government. And this is because the election was a bit controversial and it went to the courts and Madam Koome and her team. And what happened? And people have been waiting for Mr. Ruto to unveil his cabinet, and all this has stolen the focus from the county government. Yet, in our constitution, chapter 1 says very clearly that it donates sovereign powers of the people to be exercised directly and indirectly in our county governments. And so we should not focus so much on the national government and forget the county government. So the conversation that we want to delve in is about our county government, because the new constitution gave Kenyans the county government so that apparently resources were concentrated at the national level. But the drafters of the new constitution looked at it and thought that it is good for some of the resources to be brought near to the people, mashinani. I was looking at a report of the Auditor General, and I was taken aback because the county government can also be a cash cow to some of our politicians. There are governors, staff members, and county assembly members who still look at our county as cash cow. They continue to milk innocent Kenyans. In the previous report of the Auditor General, and you will allow me to refer, he said that some of the funds meant for service delivery were deliberately diverted. And the Auditor General continues to say that the county government deliberately and intentionally failed to bank locally collected revenue. Ile ushuru unalipa kila siku, wanakuja kukuambia lipa 30 ngapi. After giving them that money that is totaling, because daily there are some counties that were collecting millions and millions of shillings, but they deliberately failed to bank them in the county accounts. And it continues to say that governors made irregular payment to contractors. And they say that they also failed to complete important projects under the guise that they did not have money, yet there were money that came from the exchequer. And the report summarizes by saying that there was a lot of financial propriety, and this has remained the biggest challenge and the biggest threat to devolution. If you have been watching my channel for some time now, ladies and gentlemen, I have concentrated so much on the Ruto administration and the promises that he gave to Kenyans, all the things that he told the Hustler Nation. And many Kenya Kwanza supporters tell me ya kwamba ninapiga Ruto sana. You see, our role sio kupiga mtu. We simply want to highlight what they said during their campaigns vis-a-vis what they are now telling us. Because if you look at some of the promises and how they negate them, it behoves us to talk about them. So today I want us to focus on our county government, because if we don't focus, if we don't talk about what is happening in our counties, then this is a recipe for disaster. Because this is where it is like we are going to devolutionize corruption. We bring corruption mashinani. What are some of the things, ladies and gentlemen, that our county government must do so that it works for us? It is a conversation that we need to delve into very seriously, because You elected members of assembly to exercise their roles on your behalf. They check the governor, how he or she uses your funds, the development projects. Based on the report alone, the report of the Auditor General, you will agree with me that our county governments have not been utilized well. And you will also agree with me, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, that if the first governors, you remember when we promulgated our new constitution, if the first governors would have utilized properly, and if they meant well for the people of that county, wananchi wa kawaida, then maybe we wouldn't have been where we are now. The truth is, we might not really gain so much from the national government. But if we put the governors to task, if our county assembly members would sit down and resolve to work for the people, if they will sit down and say that it is going to be a service-centered county assembly, then within 5 years you will see very many changes, ladies and gentlemen. And what is it that the county governments must do? Because this is the conversation that I want us to talk about. Number one, because the constitution says that the governor is the chief executive officer in that county. Now, to help him manage the county, the governor will constitute an executive county committee. This committee, together with other staff members, will help the governor to deliver services to the people. And I know there are challenges where sometimes money from the national government does not reach them in time. Yet, they still have the very little that they are given and they misuse it. So, number one, ladies and gentlemen, the work starts by constituting a team, a staff, and the process must be meritocracy based, that you must employ members of the staff based on merit, not based on nepotism, where you only employ your friends because they helped you during your campaign, or your relatives. You must consider employing people on merit, people who qualify. This has been a problem, and if you read, just check from where the county where you come from, you will realize that governors always reward their relatives and their friends. So this must be avoided if we have to deliver to the people of Kenya. And that is where the whole thing begins. And some of them, I remember Governor Simbarati, when he was trying to evaluate and check what was going on in the previous government, he realized that there are some staffs who are given money. The money is wired into your account, maybe 1 million, and you are told, take 200,000, then the other 800,000 take to maybe the governor's account or something. So this must stop, so that we have a competent leadership. If this happens, ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you that we are going to deliver. There has always been a controversy between a governor and members of the assembly. There is a tendency of members of the county assembly taking a governor to hostage, where they tell him, if you don't give us this, maybe you give us money to go for some meeting in Mombasa or Dubai, and if you don't give us, then we are not going to pass your bills. If the people you elected are listening to me, there must be an amicable working relationship between the governor and the county assembly members. I remember in his first term in office, Governor Kivuta Kibwana had a very tough time with members of the county assembly members. And at some point, I thought that the governor was too rough, or he was micromanaging the county assembly members. Then it turned out later that they wanted the governor to, engage in some illicit deals with them. And when the governor stood his ground and he declined, they wanted to impeach him. Until Kivutha Kibwana, the governor then, said that he wanted to, I think he petitioned the president to come and dissolve the whole county assembly. And then some of them realized that hapa, ikivunjwa, because some of them had used money to campaign, they were not sure of being re-elected again. That is when they started, they toed the line. So there must be a working resolution. We need a governor who is firm, who is not going to be intimidated by the members of the county assembly. But we also need a political goodwill from the county assembly members so that service delivery reaches the people. We must also have, there is this problem of regional kingpins holding the county hostage. You might find, for example, that in Ukambani, I'm just using an example, that the de facto leader there is Kalonzo Musyoka. And so he wants to micromanage what is going to happen in the county assemblies. He even presides over election of the speakers and the clerks and all that. He wants to influence contracts. This is something that must stop. You may even find that former governors, the immediate outgoing governors, would want to influence. They want to get contracts. If a road is being built, they want to be the people, maybe they register some companies, or even the governors themselves. Conflict of interest. If there is a regional leader, in Mombasa County, in Nyeri and all that, even if the MCAs have subscribed to your ideology, get your hands off and let the county government work. Because there have been problems where a de facto leader, a leader from these regions, wants to influence everything. And this has sometimes really made it very difficult for the governors to work, because wananchi are also looking at you, and if you refuse, maybe you risk being re-elected. So our regional de facto leaders must stay away from the county. They can only come when there is a problem, like watoto wako wakipigana, then you come in and you want to settle the disputes. That is okay. But don't go there and start influencing contracts and leadership and even the small staff, how they are being elected. This must stop. The county government, the national government must also not get involved by trying to shield governors who have committed atrocities. We have a tendency in Kenya where if you are on the good side, you are with the government and you're sleeping on the same bed with the government, then even if you commit atrocities and you have some corrupt cases, you cannot be charged because the government will be shielding you. We already have cases where former governors, immediately after they completed their terms in office, they ran, even those who are in the opposition, in Azimio, have gone and they're now supporting William Ruto. Not because they want it, but they want some of the embezzlement of funds, some of the corrupt deals that they did. They want all this to be protected by the regime. And I want to advise, if President William Ruto means well, and if he wants this country to go to the levels that he's talking about, he just officiated in swearing in the cabinet members of the cabinet secretaries. He should let his hands off and he should not shield anyone. Already there is a conversation around cases that involve people like Aisha Juma, and the cases are just being dropped because I think the DPP is dropping them on some allegation that there was no proper investigation and something of that kind. Let the national government not protect anyone. Let everyone carry his cross. We are undergoing an economic crisis. The Mwananchi, the Wanjiku of today, is already burdened. Taxes, there is no money. Unemployment rate is so high. So we should not shield those who are stealing. And the members, the Wanjiku, the common Mwananchi, if someone steals, let him not come to you and start telling you that he's being, oh, ni mimi napigwa, ni nyinyi mnapigwa. They are not stealing on your behalf. They are enriching themselves and their families and maybe close friends. So you have a role to play. The national government has a role to play. Let the county government have a structure. And this will be very much helpful if the members of the county assembly, our madiwani, have a proper plan where whatever happened, if you, from what I read for you, the report of the Auditor General, where there was misappropriation of funds were channeled to other areas which they were never meant for. There was nepotism in recruiting government staff. The staff was bloated, the wage bill was bloated. They contravened the procurement law, where they just, they call people, they even gazette some tenders, but they do it as a mere formality because they already have their people who they want to give those contracts. Some of them, as I said, have even registered companies in the names of some relatives. So let us have a proper way of working, and let our county governments know that they are working for the well-being of the people, so that when history is written, it will be said that Governor so and so changed the lives of his county members.